Being married to a porn addict is hard. Today I want to talk about 6 steps that help you rebuild after you've gone through the shock of discovering the pornography addiction. Hi, my name is Kirsten Samuel. I'm the Aftershock Recovery Method Coach, and today we're going to talk about how do you rebuild your life and your marriage after you discover the pornography addiction. There are 6 steps I want to run through with you. So where do you start? Well, there's one approach to it for those of you who want a real simplified approach, and that is you've got to remove the rubble. This is part of the process, is just removing the mess. When my husband revealed his pornography addiction, we met with some coaches and counselors that helped us know what to salvage and what needed to go into that dumpster. It was a very helpful process, and once we got through all of that, then they took us into a rebuilding phase. When you've seen a house that's been devastated by an earthquake or a flood or something like that, a lot of times it goes right down to the foundation, if the foundation is even salvageable. When pornography addiction affects your marriage, sometimes we have to actually start with a brand new foundation. And as we went through this process, and I thought through what did we have to go through, we actually had to start from ground zero. And this framework is what I call the Aftershock Recovery Method. It's the result of analyzing what happened in our life and then envisioning a better future. So let's jump into these parts. First one, part 1, evaluate the impact. What has happened in your marriage? Well, yes, you know about the pornography, but what else has just fallen apart because of that? What do you need to know? And what do you need right now to take your next step? Part 2 involves excavating the rubble. What is salvageable? Remember I said we had a coach and counselors who helped us identify the things in our lives that were salvageable, because there were some things. Not everything was bad. But then we also had to identify what needs to go. And then I had to say, what do I desire? What do I want now? Part 3 is to fabricate the shock absorbers. We all need people in our lives who support us. Who do you have that supports you and your husband and your marriage? How do you see yourself? And what do you believe about yourself and your future? Part 4 is to designate the foundation. Who am I? Who does God say I am? And what truth do I need to apply to my situation today and moving forward? Part 5 is to recreate the framework. This is the walls that are going up in your house, like you see above me, unfinished support structure. You've got to rebuild that. You have to decide on your preferred future. You need to determine healthy boundaries and develop new communication strategies. And then part 6 is to celebrate the future. You can do this by celebrating daily milestones, learning to speak truth to each other, and to practice gratitude in your life. So depending on who you are, you might like that 1 to 2 step process where this is what's happened, this is what we need to move forward. But others of you may need to understand that there are different processes we need to go through to rebuild from the rubble. Now I know being under construction and rebuilding feels uncomfortable. But if you look at a house near you that's being built, how else would it get built if it wasn't under construction, if there wasn't hard work involved? And it's only in the struggles that you and I grow. My coach reminds me that you can choose chronic pain or acute pain. And you could say to me, well, I could also choose to do nothing, which you could, but that is chronic pain. It means that you're going to stay with what you're used to and familiar with, even though you don't like it. Acute pain requires that we identify what's going on and tackle the problems head on. It feels worse in the moment, and it requires hard work, but it results in healed wounds and relationships. It's like I said, not making a choice is still a choice. Your next step is your first choice you need to make. One of the things that I do in Aftershock Recovery Method is work with women whose husbands are addicted to pornography. Addiction stories have similar roots. I guarantee you your husband didn't just wake up one morning and say, well, what could I do today that's going to destroy my wife? My husband didn't do that. His pornography addiction was a result of a deep wound in his own heart, where he felt that he had no value, and this was something that he used to medicate that feeling. So if you have similar feelings, or if your husband has started looking at pornography addiction, and you just feel to the depth of your core that he couldn't have done anything worse to you, I get it. Hop on over to KirstenDSamuel.com. Kirsten is spelled Kirsten, D as in Diane, Samuel, Samuel.com. Click on the blue button there. I'd love to talk to you, and I would love the opportunity to show you how you can move from where you are today in this pain to a bright future that I know is ahead of you. Let's talk.